Hello everyone, welcome. Today I bring you a different and very important video for everyone. Listen carefully because this can greatly prolong your life. 5 years ago, my doctor looked at my medical record, then looked at me and said something I will never forget. Michael, the way you start your mornings is predisposing you to a stroke. I wasn't in the hospital. I wasn't recovering from anything. I was just sitting in his office, thinking I was tired from getting older. But what he explained to me that afternoon changed everything I thought I knew about my own health. Because it wasn't about what I was eating, it wasn't about stress at work, it was about the first 60 minutes of my day, the part of the day I had never once questioned. If you're over 60, I need you to hear this. Because what I'm about to share are 4 habits that most people do every single morning without thinking twice. Habits that feel completely normal, even healthy, but that according to research can quietly and significantly increase your stroke risk. I've been there, I've done all 4 of them, and I had no idea I was doing anything wrong. Stay until the last one, because in my opinion, and in the opinion of the research I've studied, Number 4 is the most dangerous of all, and it's the one that almost never gets talked about. My name is Michael Davis. I'm 68 years old, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a retired civil engineer. I spent 35 years designing and building bridges, structures that have to hold thousands of tons of weight without failing. Load, stress, tension, foundation, that's the language I think in. And at 63, I realized I had spent 3.5 decades building structures to last, while completely ignoring the most critical one I'd ever been given. This one. At 63, I was sedentary. I was overweight. My joints felt like corroded rebar. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and severe hypertension in the same week. My doctor told me plainly that if I didn't make real changes, a cardiovascular event, stroke or heart attack, was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when. That week broke something in me, and it rebuilt something too. Today, at 68, my blood pressure is 120/80. My blood sugar is normal. My last physical put my cardiovascular health in the top 5% of men my age. And I got here without a gym membership, without expensive supplements, and without complicated diets. I got here by understanding how structure works, and the most important structure of all is the first hour of your day. Okay, and before we move on, if you're new here, consider subscribing. I'm helping people with practical and straightforward content for people over 60 who want to stay strong. Let's go. Here's something most people don't realize. The hour right after you wake up is the most physiologically vulnerable window of the entire day, especially after 60. Let me explain it the way an engineer would. While you sleep, your body goes 6 to 8 hours without water. Your blood thickens, it becomes more viscous, moves more slowly, and clots more easily. At dawn, your cortisol, your primary stress hormone, peaks naturally, and for most adults over 60, blood pressure rises right alongside it. So you open your eyes already carrying thicker blood, tighter vessels, and a natural pressure surge running through arteries that have become less flexible with age. Now add 4 common habits on top of that physiological load. You're not just stacking weight on a structure, you're stacking weight on a structure that's already under maximum stress. That's when failures happen. In engineering and in the human body. Let's go through the 4 habits. Number 1, skipping water in the morning. You wake up, you go to the coffee maker, maybe you brush your teeth first, you check your phone, and the first liquid your body receives after 8 hours of nothing is coffee. I did this for 40 years without a second thought. Here's the problem. After a full night of sleep, your blood viscosity has increased. It's thicker, it moves slower, it clots more easily. And research published in the European Journal of Neurology found that low morning hydration was a contributing factor in nearly 48% of first-time ischemic strokes. Not genetics, not a lifetime of bad diet, simply dehydration. Coffee in that state isn't helping you. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. It narrows blood vessels. You're taking blood that's already thick and slow, and you're squeezing the pipes it's traveling through. The fix is simple. Room temperature water, 1 full glass, before anything else. Before the coffee, before the medication, before you check a single notification. You're not just waking up your mouth, you're rehydrating your brain. I keep a glass on my nightstand now. It's the first thing my hand reaches for before my feet even touch the floor. That single habit took me 2 days to build and 5 years to fully appreciate. Number 2. And this one surprised me when I first understood it, because we associate stillness with rest, with recovery, with being responsible. Waking up and then staying completely motionless for 20 or 30 minutes, lying there scrolling, sitting on the edge of the bed staring at the wall, staying in the chair without moving while the coffee brews. After 60, your blood vessels are less elastic. When you go from hours of lying flat to simply sitting still, blood begins to pool in the lower half of your body. It slows its return to the heart. Cerebral flow decreases, and for someone with any plaque buildup or clotting risk, that window of stagnation can become a trigger. A study published in Circulation followed more than 8,000 adults over the age of 60 and found that those who spent prolonged time sedentary in the morning had double the stroke risk, even when they exercised later in the day. Because it's not just about how much you move, it's about when you move. The first 30 minutes after waking is the window. Move in it. I'm not talking about a workout. I'm talking about ankle rotations while you're still lying down, flexing your toes, wiggling your fingers. When you sit up, shoulder rolls, slow neck circles, stand up gradually. Think of it as priming a pump. You don't run a pump at full pressure without priming it first. Don't ask your cardiovascular system to do it either. Number 3, and this one I'm almost embarrassed to admit because I thought I was doing the right thing, skipping breakfast. For most of my 50s, I woke up, drank my coffee, took my medications, and felt almost proud that I didn't need food in the morning. It felt like discipline, like I was being controlled and intentional about my body. I was starving my brain at its most vulnerable moment. Here's the reality after 60. Your body becomes significantly more sensitive to low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, and the brain, which runs almost entirely on glucose and doesn't store much of it, is the first organ to register the drop, the first to fog, the first to be compromised. When you're already dehydrated and then add no fuel to that equation, you've created the exact conditions for dizziness, cognitive confusion, or worse, a vascular event. This risk compounds sharply if you're taking blood pressure or diabetes medication on an empty stomach. That combination was a common factor in stroke cases I've read about extensively in people over 65. I'm not asking you to make a full breakfast. My approach is always minimum effective dose. Half a boiled egg, a spoonful of yogurt, a small handful of nuts, something small, something with protein, just enough to stabilize your blood sugar and send one clear signal to your brain. We are supported. We are operational. We can begin. That's not indulgence. That's structural maintenance. And after 60, maintenance is not optional. And number 4, the one I believe does the most silent damage, the one that took me the longest to change because it looked exactly like productivity. Flooding your brain with stress before it's ready. Checking emails the moment you open your eyes, turning on the news while you're still half asleep, having a tense conversation with someone before you've had a single glass of water, mentally running through your schedule, your problems, your obligations, before your feet have even touched the floor. A large-scale study published in the journal Stroke tracked over 93,000 people for more than a decade and found that individuals who experienced high psychological stress early in the day had a significantly elevated stroke risk. even after controlling for age, blood pressure, and lifestyle factors. The highest risk group, adults over 60. The most dangerous window, the first 3 hours after waking. Here's why. Your brain at that hour is still in transition. It hasn't fully shifted into cognitive mode. Your cortisol is already peaking on its own natural schedule. Your blood pressure is already rising. When you pile mental and emotional weight on top of that biological process, you're not being productive. You're amplifying a physiological stress response that is already at its natural ceiling. I spent 35 years building bridges, and I can tell you, no structure performs better under load when it hasn't had time to settle. You wait for the concrete to cure before you apply pressure. Your brain needs the same respect. What I do now? 10 minutes. That's it. No phone, no news, no agenda. I sit in this chair, I drink my water, and I let the system stabilize before I start running applications. It's not weakness, it's not laziness, it's neurological hygiene. I have a grandson named Leo. He's 9 years old now. 5 years ago, when he was 4, I tried to run with him in the backyard. Oh my God, I almost fainted from the effort. I had to sit in a lawn chair and watch him play, from a distance, trying to catch my breath. That image has never left me. Today I can run with him. I can tackle him on the grass. I can keep up with him. Not because I found a miracle supplement, not because I started spending 2 hours a day at the gym, but because I fixed the foundation. I understood that the first hour of my morning was either building that moment with Leo or silently eroding it, every day. So here's the engineer's summary. 4 morning habits that silently increase the risk of stroke after age 60. 1. Not drinking water. Solution: a glass at room temperature before anything else. 2. Remaining completely still upon waking. Solution: 2 minutes of gentle movement before getting out of bed. 3. Skipping breakfast. Solution: something small and rich in protein, enough to stabilize blood sugar. 4. Overloading the brain with stress before it's ready. Solution: 10 minutes of silence before the noise begins. None of this requires a gym. None of this costs a penny. None of this requires perfection, only you. You just need to stop ignoring what your body has been trying to tell you since the moment you open your eyes. The structure is still standing. You just need to stop adding load to a cracked foundation. If this helped you, share it with someone you love. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Practical, honest, and lasting. I'm Michael Davis. Until the next video, a hug.